Hello, as you may know, I got an iPad recently, and today my cat and I are here to tell you how I'm using it as my personal digital planner. One of the reasons I really wanted to get an iPad partly was for content creation so that I would be able to edit more easily, and the other reason was because I really wanted to try out digital journaling. I've been bullet journaling on and off for the better part of like 7 or 8 years. I started in college as a sophomore because one of my friends introduced me to it, and I continued with it throughout college. It worked really, really well for me. It kept me up to date with so many of my deadlines, and it was really what honestly kept my life together when I was in college. Coming out of college, that didn't work so well anymore. I tried to continue bullet journaling, and it sort of worked, it sort of didn't. I just found that I didn't have the same capacity for it anymore. Either I was too busy to be making my very simple news spread, which I had always made simple because I didn't want to do anything super elaborate. I wanted to be able to do like an entire month of spreads in about 5 to 10 minutes. But something about bullet journaling just wasn't working for me anymore, and more in recent years I've seen a lot of people switch to digital journaling, which is in a lot of ways very similar to and inspired by a lot of what the bullet journaling community was doing a few years ago. I've already filmed a version of this video before, and the video did not turn out well, so this is me refilming it. In my original video I did show you the entire setup process, but unfortunately that footage just was not usable, so you're just gonna get it through this time. But I hope you enjoy seeing how I use my journal, because I have been playing around with it for the past couple of weeks and I'm really enjoying the process. These past 2 weeks of using my digital journal have already stuck longer than me trying to get back into bullet journaling. I really enjoy the process, I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I'll let the overhead shot take over to show you how my personal journal is set up. So this is my iPad. It is the iPad 10-inch, and I have just the USB-C Apple Pencil, so it opens like that. Honestly, there's nothing like super special about it, but this is what we're working with. So turning on my iPad, this is my 2025 planner. I already have it in Goodnotes, and as you can see, I'm also going to be filming something for my reading journal, but that's going to be a separate video. This is the planner that I made. I designed all of this in Canva. It looks okay. I mean, I kind of like how it turned out. I think it was nice. It started off this weird pink theme, but then I eventually changed it to green, and I like this setup a lot better. And if you look at the text on the back, it says, "I'll be picking up bottles with you on New Year's Day." I don't know why I decided to use that phrase, but that was what stood out to me when I was in the process of making all of this. So let's get into the journal itself. We start off with an index, and this is basically just everything that I sort of need at a glance. Everything is hyperlinked, so if I tap on, for example, calendar, it just takes me to the calendar, which is the next page as well. I can tap on something like January, and it'll take me to my January calendar, and if I tap the sidebar here for home screen, it'll just go back home. So if you don't know how to use Goodnotes, basically, usually it looks like this, and you have this bar on the top. When this bar is here, you can tap all the hyperlinks just with your pencil or with your finger, but when you tap this here, that's when you can start writing. So for example, I can just scribble all over the page, and I can also just erase all of that. So that is how Goodnotes works. There are a lot of people out there who do much more comprehensive videos of how this works, and I think the nice thing about me refilming this is that I am no longer making the same mistakes that I was previously, so it's a much smoother process for you guys to watch. For this journal, I also have a color palette that I went and imported into like the pencils area, so everything has already been done and set up because I have been using this for a little while. Now for a closer look at what I have on the index, you can see that I have my calendar, my 2025 goals, and my measurements, and I will explain them what that is when I get into the page itself. After that, I have like quarterly goals, which are all here, and then I have each of my months broken down into quarters. Then we have repetitive things that are basically blank pages. I have 2 different versions of a weekly planner that I have created, and that makes it easy for me to decide which one I want to use. It's basically so I have options and don't get bored of using the same thing all the time. I have a template of my weekly reset. Well, ideally it's a weekly reset, but it's basically just a cleaning routine for myself. I have a blank template for sermon notes, my habit trackers, a daily page in case I ever need it, a memories page, and a gratitude page. So I will get into that a little later as I show you what each of those spreads looks like, but this is my index and this is where everything starts. Going into the hyperlink for the calendar, you can see this is my 2025 overview. I did not build this one. I got this off Canva. Someone else built it because I am not capable of like doing all of this. I honestly think I tried and it would have looked so bad. At a glance, you see a couple of things, like you can see some colors here. And the nice thing about working with PDF is that I can zoom in like this and it doesn't distort anything, but you can see a couple of colored things. So this is just my year at a glance, and I've noted some things like the gray is a holiday and the pink is an event related to my boyfriend. And then like blues are birthdays that I have. So this is just at a glance allowing me to see what is coming up. I'm probably not going to be referring to this a ton unless I need to see like, oh, roughly when are the holidays? I can look at all the gray spots. Not all of these are public holidays. For example, I have put Valentine's Day here. It's not a public holiday, but it is a holiday that I need to take note of. And each of these will be expanded upon in the monthly cover pages because I have a calendar there as well. So even though this looks a little messy at a glance and I actually don't know what everything refers to, when I go into the monthly calendars, that will be very evident. Next up, we have my goals page. So I have 6 different kinds of goals and room for 6 goals within that. So starting with my personal goals, I have a goal of finding a job, finding a new therapist, and getting back into regular devotions. These are things that are really important to me. Obviously, I'm unemployed right now, so I do need to find a new job. My previous counselor said that she thought I was okay enough to stop doing sessions, but I would honestly like to continue doing therapy in some capacity, maybe not as frequently as I was, but potentially a couple times a month or once a month. So I need to look for a new therapist, and then devotions are just something that I have not been regular with and I would like to get back into. Moving on to my finances, a big goal of mine is to not go broke because, again, unemployment, I would really like to maintain my finances. I do have some savings and I would like to avoid dipping into that too much, but a main goal is to not go broke. Once I have a job, I have a goal of saving 10K and saving 15K. I was actually really close to my original goal of saving 10K before I decided to resign, which honestly, probably not the best decision on my part, but we're going to go with it. So I have a goal of saving 10K and saving 15K, and I also have a goal. This is honestly more just a reminder that I need to cancel my US credit card and bank account from when I lived there. I've kept it active in case I move back, but honestly, I've been in Singapore for 3.5 years, so I really should cancel that. Moving on, I have a section of goals for pole because I do pole and I would like to have some goals of how to improve my skills. So the one thing is getting my chopper invert. I can do my inverts pretty well, but my chopper invert is sloppy and hit or miss, mostly miss. I would also like to get more comfortable in my inside leg hang. This is just like a pole thing that it's a move that a lot of other things are built upon, and so I would like to get more comfortable with it. I am successfully able to get into it, but I still need to tweak a couple of things. And then I would also like to get my aerial invert because I can't invert from not the ground, basically. Moving sideways to exercise, I want to work on my flexibility. I think that would really help me in a lot of things related to pole. I would also like to start strength training because that would also help me in a lot of things related to pole. One of the big issues that I have right now is I lack a lot of upper body strength, specifically in my shoulders and my upper back, so this would really help. My arms have gotten a little better, but my shoulders and upper back need a lot of improvement, so I'm going to be doing some kind of strength training and finding some kind of routine that works for me. I would also like to get back into running just because I think that's a good thing. Unfortunately, Singapore is just really hot and humid, and I don't enjoy running when it is so hot and humid. But you know what? I'm going to find a way to do it. And I would also like to run a 10K. I can run a 5K pretty okay, even though I'm not in the best running shape right now. I can do it in probably about 45 to 50 minutes, but I would really like to be able to run a 10K, and what's not said here is I would like to be able to do that without stopping. For my reading goals, this is kind of just an overview. You can see a more detailed version. I'll break it down more in the video that I'm doing about my reading journal because I go into a little more detailed stuff there. I have 6 goals here. I actually have room for 8 goals in my reading journal, but these are just the 6 goals that I'm going to go over really quickly. Read 52 books, that's my annual goal. Read 10 graphic novels, read 2 translated books, read 30 books off my TBR, complete your reading challenge, and read more consistently before bed. And then in terms of content, because I think it's also important to set goals for my content, one of the things I would really like is to find a consistent and sustainable schedule. I am very guilty of being the kind of person who starts something, gets really excited, and then like plans a bunch of stuff, and then I fall off the wagon in about a month and a half to 2 months, and it's no longer sustainable. So I would like to find something that is sustainable, and also to figure out what I want. And more specifically, this is going to be figuring out what I want from each channel. I have YouTube, I have Instagram, and I also have a TikTok. As of right now, I don't really know what I want to do with my TikTok. YouTube, I think, is just the platform for me because I'm a yapper. And so long form content just makes sense for me. And Instagram is a place where I feel like I have built a pretty good community. So I would like to keep up with that. And I think those are the 2 clearest, but I want to get a little more into the specifics of what I want out of each platform. I don't want to burn out. That's a big thing as well. And I would love to get a sponsorship, paid or unpaid. I'm not sure yet. It would be great if it was paid, but I would like to aim towards some kind of sponsorship this year. I just want to mention that this sidebar here is linking to all like these main annual pages that I have. This is one for my blank pages. So these go at the end of the journal. And if I need anything, I can just tap this and it goes to the end of my journal to get me to the blanks. This is my memories. These are sermon notes. This is cleaning. These are my measurements. These are my goals. That's my calendar. And then along the sidebar, I also have stuff for each month. Moving on to the next page, this is my measurements page. So I know a lot of people are really uncomfortable with the idea of taking your measurements. For me, this is mostly because I buy whole clothes from different brands. And when it comes to shopping, it is handy for me to know what my measurements are. I took these partly because I needed to get a dress custom made for my best friend's wedding. I'm a co-maid of honor. And so because of my height, we just needed to custom make the dress a little more. So I had to take all these measurements. And because I needed to take these measurements, I thought, why not just have it all down here anyways. It's a good reference for whenever I'm buying something from a new clothing store, whether that be for pole or regular clothes. This is just something good for me to have as a quick reference so that I know roughly what sizes I'm looking for, especially if I'm looking for something online and they don't have a physical store or I can't make it to a physical store to try something on. This is just very helpful. I need to fill out the brand sizing of stuff that I have, but I have a column for the top and the bottom, and so it'll just be like the brand and then the size, brand, and size. It's pretty self-explanatory. So now we're getting into my quarterly goals. I have one goal from each section that I've focused on right now and like broken it down into what I think are slightly more achievable steps. I have room for another goal if I decide to do that, but honestly, 6 goals in a quarter feels like an okay amount to me, so I'm probably going to stick with this. For my personal goals, the main one is to find a new job. Actually, I would like to add find a new therapist into this as well. So we're just going to go here and we're going to go find a new therapist. I have already looked into this, so the how will be to finally send the email asking about availability. I don't know why I struggle to spell availability. Like, I literally was a journalist. I don't know why I struggle to spell availability. But the how for finding a new job is to apply to both retail and food service jobs as a potential tie over while applying to full-time jobs I might be interested in, because I don't know what I'm interested in and I don't know what I want to do next. This is how I'm deciding to go about things. Also, I know the lighting is changing. The lighting's going down because it is like 6:30 p.m. So I'm going to try and wrap this up as quickly as I possibly can. Finances, don't go broke, monitor my spending closely, and cut all unnecessary purchases. This is going to be a big one for me, and I feel like this is going to be pretty easy. Get my consistent chopper invert. So basically I need to build up my lower abs to be able to hold the crunch because it is lifting with my lower abs to get off the ground, and build my arm strength to hold myself in position without falling down. That's something that I'm struggling a lot with. It's not just arm strength, it's honestly shoulder strength, but I know what I mean. Exercise, build ab muscles. This is to help my chopper invert, and to do that I just do more crunches and lower ab exercises specifically. My reading goals are to read more before bed, and the how is to put my phone away and pick up either of my e-readers or my physical book because I have 2 e-readers. And then for content, my goal is to figure out what I want. How I'm going to do that is to spend time thinking it over and being realistic about what I can do and what the time required will be for each platform and each type of content that I want to do. I can obviously change these at any time, but for right now, I feel like these are pretty good goals. So this is an example of a memory page that I like to do. I did this for December because I did a lot of fun things, and so I just decided it would be nice to have it. I have tape over my boyfriend's face and name just because we've decided that I'm not going to show him or name him in my content. It's a decision we made for privacy reasons, and I think we're both quite happy with that. But for everything else, for example, this is 2 of my former coworkers just being a little silly in the office on one of my last days, me consistently being a Swiftie and like getting the notification that I was a top 0.5% fan. This is my pole instructor who I share a name with. I wanted to take a photo with her because this is my first time having like a full term class with her. I got to meet up with some old friends from high school, which was really great, and I got to go back to Hong Kong. So there's just like some food that I ate, people that I hung out with, more food, photo with my boyfriend, photo with my colleagues from the last party that I had with them, and a really cute photo I have of my boyfriend helping my mom cook. I have more memories here. These are more just focused between me and my boyfriend, so just like food that we ate. I have a few things that really stood out to me about the trip, like these monkeys that we saw that we were both like really incredibly fascinated with for honestly no reason. The Hong Kong skyline, because I really miss Hong Kong and I love the night skyline. This is something that I really wanted to memorialize for myself. This is me in a kid's like turtle shell thing that like only kids are supposed to fit into, but I can. So my friend told me to get into it to see if I could fit. Well, actually no, it was my idea to see if I could fit, and I can. So the caption just says I'm a turtle. Next up we have my January calendar. So this is what I mean when I say that I have things a little more detailed here. So for example, if you go to my main calendar here, you will see that, well, right, if we go to my main calendar here, you will see that on the 29th and the 30th, there are little gray dots. And we go to January, that corresponds to the first and second day of Chinese New Year, which I have noted down here. I just have a couple things. Pink is for stuff with my boyfriend. So this is our first anniversary. I just wanted to note that down. And then like dinner, I have tape over it that I will erase later, but because I didn't want to show his name, but this is basically how I go through it. I write everything out and then I use the highlighter tool just to make sure that I'm able to see it better. The way I distinguish things is that if it's an event, I will highlight it. And then if it's like a little reminder that I need to give myself of something or like details about something, I will just do it in the pen color. So for example, I did a day trip to JB, which is across the border, and I just wanted to write that down. It was honestly should have been an event. So you know what? We can change that. I can show you how I would change that. So I'm going to go in here, going to do the lasso tool. We are going to change this to black. And then we're going to go into the highlighter tool. And I'm going to change this. I believe this is the color that I use. And then we're just going to, what I like to do, just to make sure everything lines up nicely, is to highlight down here first. Actually, I think that's the color for birthdays. That's not right. No, that is the right color. Okay, I can't tell. Some of my colors that I chose are a little too close. So I have the thing turned on where if you hold it, it'll just straighten out. And then once I'm satisfied with that, I lasso it and I put it back there, tap it, the font comes to the front. And there we go. It's highlighted. Another example of this is the fact that I'm going to be in the US for a week for my best friend's wedding. So I just have it highlighted of the entire duration of my trip. I have like my flight time here and I've covered that up for privacy reasons, even though by the time you see this, I will already have been back. Just being cautious. I'm leaving this birthday on here because no one, unless you know me, knows who this is. I have recurring things like my pole classes. So this is just the time of the class and just a reminder for me that I have this class going on. And then if I have any things like to-dos, I can write them down here. This is just a little section that I made, and this is a note. Also, this template, before I forget to say it, I also did not make this calendar. This is another Canva template that I just adapted a little bit. I changed the colors and the font, but everything else was made by someone else because I am not talented enough to do this. I tried. It looked terrible. Now going into my monthlies, this is how everything is set up normally, and this, if you go into any of the months, it's just how my main pages are set up, and then after that I put in my weekly planning pages. We start off with my gratitude page, and this is just something that I like to do. It's something that I did in my bullet journals previously, and I really like keeping up with it because I think it makes me really mindful about my days and about the time that I spend with people. So we have my gratitude here. I'm filming this on the 4th, so my gratitude so far are 1 year with my boyfriend, rough video edits. That made smoothing out an edit a lot easier. And then yesterday I was getting a massage and I got my upper back cracked, which was really nice. This automatically says 31 days and I'm not changing it for each specific month. I'm just gonna stop wherever like the month ends. So this is just, I don't know, it was easier for me. I was lazy when I made these templates. I have a habit tracker. So you can see that I'm not doing so well with my habit tracking right now. I really need to be a lot better about it, but these are just a bunch of habits that I want to track. And in order to do this, I've actually created an element. So to do that, you go here and it's this icon here with the star. I tap that and I have a bunch of elements that I've created. So this is like my tracker fills. So what I can do is I can just tap this. As long as I'm on the sticker, I can tap it and it'll come up with these options and it'll automatically fill it in pretty perfectly. And that just makes it a lot easier than me having to like lasso it or drawing it in every single time by myself. This makes the process so much smoother, and I can very easily fill out my habit tracker. An example of the habits I have that I want to track. I know it's hard for you guys to see, and it's a little hard for me to see too, but honestly, I don't feel like fixing this. And is to wake up with my alarm, to do my devotions, journal, make my bed, walk 10,000 steps, do a 5-minute evening reset so that things are okay for me in the morning and I don't wake up to like a mess in my room, because that happens a lot. Refill my water bottle, plan the next day, clear my notifications, start my unwinding process at 10:30, be in bed by 11, and then sleep at midnight. This separate tracker here is for me to work on de-stressing and rebuilding a lot of my hobbies. So here I have reading for 15 minutes, gaming, stretching for 15 minutes. This is not really a hobby so much as it is just good for me. Exercising, and then TV or YouTube as like a wind down thing, because I was really struggling with a lot of burnout and not feeling like I knew how to make time for myself. So these are some of the things that I want to track in order to see how well I'm taking care of myself and making time for myself to do things that I enjoy or things that are good for me, because I don't necessarily enjoy exercise, but it's good for me. The lighting is really going, but we're going to continue. Memories, I just have one so far, and that is the anniversary dinner with my boyfriend. Sermon notes, this is an example of a template that I have, because when I go to church, I like to be able to take notes. So I have room for the sermon, the pastor, the date, and then like any notes that I have. It's pretty self-explanatory. And this is an example of what my weekly planner setup looks like. So this is something that I was starting to use already. I've covered some things up with tape just for privacy reasons again, but I can show you stuff that I've already done and checked off. So for example, I wanted to refine an edit that I had to do. I needed to wash my hair and I needed to buy eyeliner. So I'm using the bullet journal system that writer Carol has come up with my icons. This is just a very simple thing that I do. I don't use all the icons, but I do use the dot method. So basically, for every task you have, you just make a dot. If it gets moved to another day, you make this little arrow, and if you've completed it, you cross it out. If it's in progress, I will usually just do 1/ either way. These are like some other tasks that I have. I need to work on like the font and how big exactly I want to make this. I have a habit of like zooming in really far and then writing out my task. But honestly, I realize I don't need to do that because I have a ton of room for tasks. So I'm just working on that. I have a tendency to write really small anyways. So it's just something that I'm trying to be a little more mindful of. I have also started already working on next week's stuff because I am flying. So I needed to plan some stuff in advance. Okay, the lighting's gotten really bad. Let me see if I can fix that real quick. Okay, you can see the shadow of my tripod, and that's really not ideal, but you know what? This is better than what it was earlier, so we're going to work with it. I'm so sorry about the lighting situation. So these are some things that I need to do moving forward. I actually need to get something for my iPad checked out, so I don't know if my content plans are going to work the way I want them to, because I need to get my iPad checked out for something. I suspect I may have, in the process of putting on and taking off this cover, warped the screen just a little bit, so I'm getting it checked out. I just don't want, like, where I'm going and what time I'm going there to be public information, even though, again, this is, like, it's gonna be way over by the time this video comes out. I need to refilm intros and then make graphics, and then I need to schedule the week's worth of Instagram posts. After this, we have something that I call my monthly check-in. So this is for me to do at the end of the month. It's basically a bunch of questions of how am I doing? How am I managing stress? What am I struggling with? What can be done about it? How are things with my boyfriend? What am I proud of and what am I looking forward to? These are things that I think are really important to have, because as I was at my previous job and I was feeling really stressed and burnt out, I realized I wasn't checking in with myself very often or being really honest with myself about how I was feeling. So having these monthly check-ins, I think, will be really good for me, because it allows me to reflect on the entire month and kind of adjust things as I go along, so that I'm able to really treat myself the way I need to be treated, and to also make sure that I'm not overwhelming myself with a lot of things. And especially in terms of stuff like managing stress, making sure that I'm doing little things to help with that. Also, I like to have a little thing of just what I'm looking forward to, because I am guilty of rarely looking forward to stuff or just not being as conscious about stuff like that. So I want to make sure that I'm checking in with myself and reminding myself that it's good to look forward to things and that I should have that in place. After the monthly check-in, we get to the new month. So that's like what a general month looks like, but I'm going to show you guys really quickly what my blanks are. So these are just blank pages that I have. I know this is 2024. I'm too lazy to change it. It's supposed to be 2025. The year honestly doesn't matter. So this is the planner page that you saw previously. This is the other version of it. If I get bored of this version, I can just take this, duplicate it, and put it wherever I want. This is a daily planner just in case for some reason I'm incredibly busy and I need a daily planner. It runs from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. I don't think I will ever need something that runs like that, but because my previous job had me working sometimes until 11 or not getting home until 11 from events or being at events until 11, I'm just very used to having a schedule that kind of looks like this, and just in case I need it, it's broken down into half-hour increments. And then I have a space for top priorities, my to-do list, tomorrow, and notes. And in case you're wondering, this is what it looks like broken down into half-hour increments. It also has this spot here for the date, and I realize it's really difficult to read. I don't know how likely it is I'm going to end up using it. I can change it, honestly, if I wanted to. There's also something here for me to circle the day of the week. And again, it's a lot harder to see than I thought it would be, but we'll see if I end up using this at all. After that, it's just sermon notes. So this is where I duplicate my pages every week. I could honestly just do it into my monthlies, and I might do that, but as of right now, I'm lazy. So I do it on a week-by-week basis. This is my weekly reset. This is just to keep my room and my space clean. I sort of have a bathroom to myself, and it's also the bathroom that guests use when they come over. So it's just good for me to have to check off stuff that need to be done, like dusting the shelves, cleaning the mirror. I hand wash all my bras, so that's like on the list there. And then just little things like checking my pole bag for laundry, because sometimes I forget to do that, washing my knee pads, washing my headband that I use for my skincare and stuff like that. Extra gratitude pages in case for some reason something breaks or if I want to do more. I don't know why I have extras of these. Some of these are monthly pages. So like my habit tracker, memories in case, this one I just have in case I want to do more than one sheet of memories like I did for December. And then I have like extras in my monthly check-ins just in case. Again, I don't know why I need them. This is also a goals reflection page that I have for the end of each quarter. I have extras, I don't know why, but the reflections that I have are, was this realistic? Which was the hardest goal to achieve? What am I proudest of? And what do I want to focus on? These are just little check-ins for me to see how I'm doing with my goals. Pretty self-explanatory, and again, they go at the end of each quarter. So if you look at the end of March, actually, let's go to April and then we can go backwards. Yeah, you'll see the goal reflections here, and then you'll see my Q2 goals. So that is my personal journal. I know the lighting situation changed so much. I'm so sorry about all of that. I'm so glad I got this done though. I've been very happy with using this journal so far. It's been really great. I've been keeping up with it and I'm enjoying it. I really like how everything's been set up. I think I did a pretty decent job for creating this myself and not having done it in like Illustrator or any of the fancy softwares, just using Canva. And I really hope that I continue with this for the rest of the year. That is it. I hope you enjoyed watching my setup of my digital journal. I have a bunch of blank pages that I realize I forgot to show and record, but I have a bunch of blank pages that I can use if I want to make other spreads in the future. So if I wanted to do like, I don't know, like gift ideas for people, or if I wanted to make anything else, I do have blank pages that I can just type stuff out into and just create stuff within my personal journal without having to import other pages. I can also do that if I wanted to, honestly. There's a lot of things I can do with this journal. I'm really excited to continue using it. It's already helped me a lot and I feel like it was the right move. Maybe digital is the way to go for me, at least for this part in my life. This iPad has really been a game changer and I'm really thankful my parents got it for me for Christmas, and I will be using it to the fullest potential. So if there are any spreads you think I should include in my personal journal, if there's things you think would be interesting for me to track or things for me to try, please leave them in the comments down below, because I'm not super familiar with the world of digital journaling. So the one thing I want to maybe get into and try out is stickers. I have not really played around with stickers yet, but we'll see how I maybe incorporate that into either my personal journal or my reading journal, which is actually the video that's coming out in a few days. So stay tuned to see how I set up my digital reading journal. Bye!